So good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock. This is the meeting of the Public Safety Civil Service Commission. I'm calling it to order. It's now 10 o'clock on April 24th. So we're going to go through our agenda, which we've all got a copy of and it's posted on our website. The first item on the agenda is a land acknowledgement. The Public Safety Civil Service Commission acknowledges that we are on the ancestral lands and waters of the Coast Salish and Duwamish people and their descendants. We honor with gratitude the land and the people past and present. So the next item is introductions. Sarah, why don't we start with you? What was it this way?
Sure. Sarah Butler, PSCSC Operations and Policy Advisor.
Joe Levan, the City Attorney's Office Legal Counsel for the Commission.
Stacy Knoll, I'm a commissioner. I'm losing my voice.
Richard Green, I'm a commissioner.
Tom Advocated, Commissioner.
Teresa Jacobs, Executive Assistant.
I'm Andrea Shealy, the Executive Director for Safety Civil Service Commission.
Is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? Anyone appearing remotely or in person? All right. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone who wants to give public comment? All right, look like it. So the next item is the approval of the minutes. I've looked at the minutes of the March 21st meeting. Does anyone have any additions or corrections on that? So I would move that we approve the minutes of that meeting.
What a second?
Yes.
Is that the right version?
Good job. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And so I will sign those. Again, thank you, Ms. Jacobs, for the work that you do on that. So the next item on the agenda is number 5, action items. Currently we have exam protest reviews, but there were no requests for protest review. Is that right? Okay, well that's good. I don't know that there's anything so far that we need an executive session on.
Yeah, the only reason you might, it's totally up to you three, but if you'd like to have an executive session to discuss any legal advice about pending legislation or the commission's potential action, or can do it, or we can also not do it.
Does anyone see any have executive session? Okay, I guess probably need it at this time. So moving right along, the next item is the Executive Director Budget and Departmental Updates.
Right. Thank you, Chair Green. We have been extremely busy, so thank you for the opportunity to get this update. I'll start with the budget update. That's on page 5. This report is from a couple of weeks, maybe about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and it just shows the year-over-year adopted and revised budgets with our monthly spending. We're well within our appropriate for this time of year, about a quarter of the way through the year. And so no unanticipated expenses have come up. So far as the budget, sort of the larger picture of the budget, you all are aware that the city's in a pretty deep budget crisis for 2025. And we are in communication with our budget analyst and the CBO about the 2025 budget as well as the 2024 budget. So more to come on that, but I don't have any substantive update at this time. Department updates. I'll move on if that's okay. Sure. Are there any questions on the budget? All right. Department updates. We have been extremely busy since we last met, mostly on the issue of the police officer exam. As you are aware, Council President Nelson did first pre-introduce and then introduce two different versions of the council bill. And the first version of the bill, from my perspective, was deeply flawed. And as I've spoken probably with each of you individually, in that it would have attempted to require the commission to administer a particular test for the rank of police officer. That decision is squarely within the commission's authority under state law. And there is a case that's directly on point. I think I've shared it with each of you, but if you'd like to have a copy of the Seattle Police Officers Guild versus City of Seattle, I'm happy to share that with you. But what that case stands for is that the Public Safety Civil Service Commission's authority, that case was about the Public Safety Civil Service Commission in the City of Seattle, cannot be delegated to another branch of government except for ministerial duties. The background on that case is that in 2001, the Seattle City Council delegated by ordinance the Public Safety Civil Service Commission's authority to make rules and decisions about civil service exams, certification of hiring and promotional lists, classifications, eligibility registers, and appointments. The Seattle Police Officers Guild sued, arguing that the Director of Personnel was not independent from the employer, Seattle Police Department, as they were in the same branch of government, and therefore not able to protect police officers from decisions by the employer. The city prevailed on summary judgment, but at the Court of Appeals, the court did agree with the Seattle Police Officers Guild, holding that state law required these decisions to be made by an independent civil service commission under the state law. The court wrote, an executive officer of the city with the power to adopt the rules cannot substantially accomplish the purpose of the chapter 41.12 RCW because a fundamental purpose of the chapter is to provide for an independent body to protect police officers, and the city's Director of Personnel is not independent. The city was those portions of the ordinance that were illegal were voided, and the city was ordered to go back and re-examine its law and make those corrections pursuant to the decision. So that is a really strong basis for our argument and the arguments that I have made and conversations that I've been with the city council recently. And I was relieved when the version of the bill that was actually introduced and is being considered by the city council governance committee at this time did not remove the mandatory language and made the bill now directs the commission to seek to use that exam, but it is a significant softening of the law. And I believe that it does at least in large part cure that deficiency that the original version had. So that's one of the updates. We've been in lots of conversations with the city council and the council staff about requested modifications to that bill. I still have concerns about different parts of the bill, but I think that most of this has been addressed. So that's been a large body of work for all of our staff. Actually, we've been very busy working on that. In addition to that, we've been continuing to process appeals, requests for reinstatement, all of our regular work, as well as working with the members of our wonderful Fire and Police Exams Unit to support them in administration and development of the exams. The other thing that I have been working on is, and you're aware of, is the due diligence between the exam that we currently use, which is owned by, we contract with a company called NTN, the National Testing Network, and sort of the other exam, which is, we call it the PST exam. It's administered by a company called Public Safety Testing. I am working on my report. Please let me know if you'd like to discuss my progress, but I anticipate that will be there in the next several weeks. I appreciate that this is taking a period of time, but I'd rather get it right than get it done quickly and have it not be complete, thorough, educational, since this is the duty of the commission. let's see, that's what I had for my report. I want to thank the members of the police exams team. I see a couple of them are here today on the call. I really want to thank Sarah Butler, Teresa Jacobs. You all have been absolute superstars this month. I got to go on a vacation, which was really wonderful, and they did more than I expected to hold down the fort, keep things moving forward, and I am so, so grateful.
Thank you all very much. So the next item is the financial interest statements. Ms. Jacobs, where are we on?
Everyone has returned their statements.
Oh, good.
And they were returned before the deadline, and we were 100% compliant.
Excellent, excellent.
So ethics will not be.
There's a privacy meeting too.
There is a privacy training. I don't know if the commissioners received notice of that. You do, okay. Okay, so if you have not done that, if you can get it done by the end of the year, that would be great.
I think, yeah,
Before the next one comes out.
yeah, I haven't done it yet either, to be honest. I'm gonna get it done by the end of April. And I'm sure that our HR person will be contacting me soon with a report, and we'll follow up with those of you that have not completed. Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the case status report and appeal update.
Yes, that begins at page 6 of your materials. Do have a few updates. We have learned on the case Swartz v. Seattle Police Department. That was a discharge case. Officer Swartz told us that he is not going to proceed with a grievance with his union, and that he would like to move forward towards hearing with the Public Safety Civil Service Commission. We are scheduling, hopefully very soon, the first pre-hearing conference with him and SPD, and I'd like to get that. I'd like to get that hearing scheduled as soon as possible, you know, considering schedules. But we'll be in touch with you after the first pre-hearing conference about scheduling. Officer Willis has a suspension, Officer Willis, the SPD, that he has a suspension that he's appealing, and Teresa Jacobs is working on scheduling that with commissioners. I believe we're looking potentially at September for that hearing. Officer, I'm sorry, I think his rank is officer. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is firefighter Collins, right? He has filed a complaint, and an order will issue soon in that matter. There is another appeal that came in after this case status update was finalized, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the officer, but we are looking at jurisdiction and timelines for that appeal.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the fire and police exam unit updates. So Michelle, if you want to start?
Rachel Shoddy, Police Exams Administrator, Fire Police Exam Unit. We have administered the exam, the assessment portion of the exam for Police Sergeant on Saturday, April 6th. We had 20 city staff members, 4 from SPD. Teresa helped us out in the candidate preparation room, but 20 individuals helped facilitate that exam, which has lots of moving parts on the day that it's administered. And it flowed, and it was a smaller group, so we got through a little bit earlier in the day than we typically do, which is kind of bad for SPD. Not a lot of names on the list, but it was easier on the staff to not have to work a 12-hour day. But that was successfully accomplished on Saturday, April 6th. This next Monday, we will have, well, actually on Sunday, our assessors will be flying in from various jurisdictions. We always have outside assessors. Typically on the police side, it's outside the state of Washington. Law enforcement personnel, they all know each other here in the state of Washington, so we go outside. We have assessors coming from the San Jose Police Department, Sacramento Police Department, San Diego Police Department, and Las Vegas Police Department. We'll also have a civilian assessor. And that work will start on Monday. Monday is the day of training for all of the assessors. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they will be watching the recorded assessments that were those that were recorded on April 6th. So these aren't in-person interviews, they're actually scoring the work that was done on April 6th. Those were all recorded, so we could get it done in one day. And so that's happening next week, so it'll be a busy week. The Saturday, May 4th, we will also be participating in administering a police officer exam. We coordinated with the National Testing Network such that we created a venue here in the city of Seattle with our unit administering the exam, just to gauge candidate interest in whether or not folks were interested in having another Seattle location to test at. And we also worked with the police department to schedule a WAPAT, a Washington Physical Agility Test for candidates, so they can take the civil service frontline national test with us at 9 o'clock, and then if they want to take a break and then go on to take the physical agility test that afternoon. So we're going to see how that works and incorporate that going forward if it's something that's well received and helps a lot of people. So that's happening. We have the current exam cycle will close on May 10th. And so the exam administration on May 4th will, those folks will be incorporated into that exam cycle, and we'll have a register out by the 11th. And we have lateral entry open as well. Not a lot of applicants. We have 3 applicants for that. I haven't seen someone go through the test yet. So one is allegedly scheduled from what I can tell, but we haven't had a lot of uptick. I'm hoping that the settling of the contract, if that in fact occurs and it's ratified by city council, that might help a little bit in the area of lateral entry applicants, but it's yet to be seen.
Great. Any questions for Michelle? Thank you very much.
I don't have any comments, but I just want to say to administrate an in-person exam and to put this process together, along with everything else that Rachel's doing and developing promotional exams, you're seeing like a professional at the peak of her abilities.
It takes a village. No one person.
Yeah, it absolutely does. But like watching you go, it's like, wow. Like
there are, people, you have to look at logistics and that kind of thing. So we're giving the test actually at a Seattle Police Facility, Park 95, and out on Airport Way. And so there are some logistical things that we're trying to work out. We aren't going to be able to do a computer-based test, for instance. We're going to play DTD, and candidates are going to have to mark their scan sheets. But we're going to do what we can do and move things forward. And again, it's a team effort.
it's a heavy lift. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks very much. So for fire exams,
Yes,
Fire fans.
yes. Hi, I'm Yoshiko Grace Matsuya. I'm the fire exams administrator. Thanks for having me here. What are we working on right now? Well, it seems like a little bit of everything. Like Rachel said, it takes a village. And so this is what we would call the heavy fire testing year. We trade off which years are extremely difficult. So mine is a difficult year and Rachel has the easy year this year. And then next year we flip flop and she has the hard year and I have the quote unquote easy year to try and make up for staffing so that we're not crazy 100% of the time, only 50% of the time. So what that means is I have coming up, we finished the written exam portion of both the battalion chief and the fire captain's exam. And then we're moving into the second component for both of those, which is the oral boards. So coming up in May is going to be the fire captain oral boards. We have 27 candidates that completed the written exam and that are going through to that next stage. And then in June, we'll be moving on to oral boards for battalion chief.
And so far, at the end of the day, I have 9 candidates going through for Battalion 2. We are also in the process of creating the written exam portion for the fireboat pilots, which involves like 3 big subcomponents, including a multiple choice written exam, and then traditionally we have things like a charting exercise where you actually have to show that you can read a chart, that you can move a boat from here to here using navigation tools on an actual chart. And then if you pass that part, because it is pass fail, you move on to the practical portion of the fireboat pilot exam, which it's 5 days long. It's a lot because we do a simulated bridge exercise with a company that does training for pilots, maritime pilots. And then we also do practical examinations on at least 2 of the 4 large fireboats that we have. So typically, and I don't think this is confidential in any way, but we have 2 formats of boats. One is the very large format, 100 feet plus, and one is a smaller format, which is about 50 footer. And so we like to do practical exercises on both so that you can show that you can drive both of those types of boats. They also have different propulsion systems. One is a diesel engine, 2 diesel engines, and the other one is jet propulsion. So you have to show that you can actually pilot and drive both of those formats, which you would if you are promoted to fireboat pilot. That means I'm going to be spending a bunch of days on the water this year. And it's always a good day. We were just having this debate in the elevator, but I think it's always a good day when you're on the water. But she wants it to be warm and sunny. But you can't always choose. Also coming up, and I want to say thanks to Adelaide and Amy Jo, who are on our call with us today, because they are keeping me on track. We are also in the process of planning for firefighter testing cycle, which traditionally starts in the first week of October. So if you have anyone in your family or a circle of friends who are interested in becoming a firefighter, it's coming up. We only do testing once every 2 years, and so it is kind of a jam-packed time period. So I'm working with both Amy Jo and Adelaide to secure the facilities for that, to get sort of a outreach testing workshop plan, to select firefighters to be on the development committee for the oral boards. We're looking for what I call an officer on site. So we do oral boards in person through the month of January and part of February. And typically I have like a go-to person who's an officer there with me every day to help facilitate all the panels that we have going on. Because typically we have about 10 rooms going at once, 3 people, 3 assessors for each panel, 10 times a day. So how many is that? Is that 30 people a day? It's a lot. Those are just the panelists. And then you have to add in the staff that helps put all that together. So thank you to them for helping me stay on track with that and making sure that I haven't forgotten any parts of firefighter. Yes, I think that is my major update. Oh, I do have a couple of things. There's some state laws that were passed in this session, in this small session, that will have some impacts on veterans preference and also eligibility to be a firefighter. It expands the eligibility to people who are DACA recipients. And so I'm just now starting to talk about how we can best publicize that and what other things we have to keep in mind if we do end up hiring folks who are DACA recipients as firefighters. Yeah, that is more complicated. That's way more complicated, but for the firefighter side, we're just trying to figure out what that might look like in terms of their screening for employment eligibility after the fact.
I really want to thank you for keeping an eye on legislation as it moves through our state legislature and as laws are passed. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yes.
Great. Anyone have any questions? All right.
Any questions? Did you want to give an update on something?
Yeah, I think you give an update on the protests.
Oh, right, yes.
So I think everyone on the call has kind of a general background on exam protests. We have been working on this as a team since for the last couple of months. We've been asked to identify some standards around exam protests and began some work putting together a possible advisory opinion, which has been discussed, and we determined where it actually makes more sense to move forward with a rule, revising rule. So I'm in the process of drafting that and circulating it internally or circulating it widely.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I know we've talked about that a number of times.
Yeah. And we talked with Commissioner Kelty also about looking at how we, share information about how exam protests work with candidates, just trying to improve the user experience for candidates who might be considering or filing exam protests and requesting appeal if they, wish to do so. So that works ongoing.
Good. So the next item is the fire and police staffing issues.
Oh, sure. This is the update on what this was a request made by Commissioner Nark at some point in 2023, I believe, about what's the current staffing, what's sort of the year-to-date separations, appointments, and staffing picture for each of the public safety departments. And thank you to Dory Towler and Alyssa Pulliam from Dory's from fire, Alyssa's from police, and Heidi Woods is not on the call, but thanks Heidi for providing this information. SFD provided the following information. At the moment, they have for their budget allocation for sworn pockets, they have 1,108. I'm questioning myself because my numbers are very different. I'm sorry. Second. Yeah, I see 1,108 budget sworn pockets. The sworn employee count is 1,003. Seattle Fire Department's year-to-date appointments, they've made 39 appointments in 2024 so far, and 24 separations. Thank you, Fire Department. And for the Seattle Police Department, year-to-date, 22 separations, 10 appointments. The current sworn employee count is 1,051. And I had for budget pockets from Ms. Woods is 1,074. Thank you, Seattle Police Department, for providing that information.
And a separation would be for any reason.
Yes, that could be a retirement. Yeah, it could be anything.
Appointment, is that someone who's completed their probationary period?
No, not necessarily. No, not at all, actually. I think that is hires.
Hires.
So you said that, so SPD has got 1,074 pockets and currently has 1,051 employees, is that right?
Sworn.
Sworn.
That is the numbers, those are the numbers that were provided to me.
Okay.
Do have someone from SPD on the call if you had any follow-up questions, or you can also let me know if you have follow-up questions afterwards, then I can get answers for you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the next item on the agenda is old new business. I don't see anything there. No, we've talked about this, what the exam protest or process review goes. That's sort of an ongoing thing. Is there any other old or new business anyone has?
I had one thing that I just wanted to raise with you all to see if there's any interest. We are very, very busy. And I expect that will continue, but something we did with, this is about land acknowledgements. Something that we did with the Civil Service Commission that I thought was wonderful. And I want to suggest it to you all to do sometime in 2024. There is a staff member named Rita Gray. She's in the Seattle Department of Human Resources. I believe she's a strategic advisor, and I don't know, does she have like a working title? Oh, say that again.
She's in learning and development.
Yeah, she is in learning development. She is Native American, and one of the sort of projects that she's developed is to work. I think it started out internally in Seattle Department of Human Resources, and she's kind of trying to bring it citywide to groups that are requesting it. Is to come and talk about land acknowledgements, what their purposes are, you know, how these groups can utilize them to, you know, or whether they shouldn't, just have a kind of a conversation. She has a training component, but to have a conversation about whether or not a group like the commission wants to do a land acknowledgement, what, you know, intentions they have in using them, how sort of, I don't think she'd call them best practices, but like tips and perspectives that she could share. And we did this with this Civil Service Commission about 2 months ago. And the commission has not developed its own new land acknowledgement, but we have sort of developed a new practice. And I thought it was just extremely enlightening, really kind of helped me think about land acknowledgements and being here on this land in a different way. And I just thought it was great. So I wanted to bring it up with you all and share that. And we can do it. I don't know when we could do it, but we could certainly ask Ms. Gray to come back and speak to us when we have the capacity, and then she does too.
Oh, I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So if there's no other old or new business, anything else that we need to discuss? All right, so I would move that we adjourn. 10:30, 10:31, 10:32. Wow, it's a quick meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Any, we have a second for that, but yeah. Second, thank you. Any discussion about that? So all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.